Recorded Books presents Taking Privacy Seriously, How to Create the Rights We Need While We Still Have Something to Protect, by James B. Rule, narrated by Gregory Abbey. Preface. When I came to live in the liberal city of Berkeley and moved into my modest but expensive new home, my first concern was to establish the essential services. Water was already flowing through the pipes, electricity through the wires, and information through internet connections. But what was I going to do with my trash? I checked the city's website and put in a call to the recycling services. The bright-sounding young woman at the other end was welcoming. For starters, she said, "We'll need your California driver's license number." But why? I wondered aloud, is this necessary? After all, I was hardly planning to drive my garbage anywhere. I just needed to know the fee for collecting it and where to send the check. "Just the same," the voice responded, "the driver's license number is indispensable." "What about people who don't drive?" I asked, then realized that I was getting myself in trouble, being added to her smartass list. "No driver's license number," came the frosty response. "No trash collection." My resistance didn't last much longer than it takes you to read this, and probably that is just as well. Otherwise, I might now be sitting here putting the finishing touches on this book with accumulated trash rising around my ears. But why was that particular number so important to that particular, relatively tiny, bureaucracy? Probably because it processes checks from its customers through a company that insures each check against non-payment. These companies make their profits by identifying the minority of checks presented to their customers that appear suspect and declining to insure them, effectively rejecting the check. To do this, they collect and analyze information on countless consumers' financial situations, never disclosing much about their sources and methods in order to spot those likely to go bad. But still, why was the driver's license number so important? Apparently because a key source of information for such insurers is California's Department of Motor Vehicles. Provided with a driver's license number, the DMV will disclose, at least to companies like these, the name of the person to whom the license is issued. If the name on the check and the name corresponding to the license number in DMV records fail to match, the company will all but certainly reject the application. 2 decades into the 21st century, I should have taken it for granted that at least one set of records somewhere would govern anyone's access to any new service or relationship. I have in mind here not just any records, but those created by organizations to support decision-making in regard to the people involved. The decision-makers are agents of government or business who make their way by tracking our pasts so as to better manage our futures. It is increasingly rare to find any area of life, from healthcare access to dating services, that does not rely on such scrutiny to shape treatment of those they deal with. The ensemble of these organizations sell and exchange personal information far and wide, seeking mutual advantage and deeper knowledge of the background and susceptibilities of each person who crosses their radar. Surveillance and control. Such highly focused attention to personal data is simply a manifestation of universal social processes, surveillance and control. In virtually all settings, parties, either individuals or organizations, carefully track each other's actions, trying to anticipate what the other will do next and judge how to influence those actions. Spouses do this with each other, parents with their children, neighbors with neighbors. On a larger scale, manufacturers do this with suppliers and bosses with their staff. Analysts call the influence thus sought over others' conduct social control. All those processes that guide and goad people into doing what they are supposed to do. For most of human history, memory has served as the main medium for tracking and recording human actions for such purposes. Today, the sheer scale of institutions requires that they rely on vast
Sample complete. Ready to continue?